All right. Good morning, afternoon, everybody. I just had breakfast, so it seems like morning. Welcome to the class. So first of all, I wanted to open up, I want these classes to really encourage you and inspire you to be working. So one way that we do that is by collaboration and by talking to each other and everybody else in the brokerage about what they're doing and in their everyday lives as far as their real estate careers, and being able to share that with everybody else is something that can motivate and inspire others, give others ideas, and also get your feedback from me, from your other brokers, Randy and Sheehan. So let's just start off one by one. Jerry, what have you done this week in real estate, and what have you seen in the market? Just give us a quick 1 minute or 30-second intro on what you've done. I think you closed a deal last week.
I did a very difficult one. Yes, I did. But I'm trying to get the lockbox off the door from them, to get them to get the lockbox off the door. She told me not to threaten her. I said, I didn't threaten. I'm just telling you that the buyer requested that you have it off by Friday, or she's going to take the doorknob off. That's all.
So tell us, how did you find this client?
I found her. I also sell insurance, as I discussed with you. I sell self-defense insurance with a company on a private, it's a upscale gun range. And my last 3 clients actually came through that, and I'm actually working on a couple of referrals from one of my buyers. So one of them was a seller and 2 of them were buyers.
So for anyone who didn't catch that, Jerry has a second job, which he works 3 days a week or 2?
It's about 12 hours a week. I do presentations.
He does presentations selling insurance. And if you are in my mentorship program, I always try to teach you that if you have another job, you need to be utilizing that to try to find clients for real estate. If getting into real estate is something that you have a goal of making it your full-time career, you need to constantly be self-promoting. Don't be ashamed to actually go ahead and tell other people that you're in real estate and that you can help them with their goals. So that's awesome, Jerry.
I would like to say this though, because this is my second time back in real estate. I think you're aware of that, Lauren. I was in the business from 2002 to 2008. So this is my second time around in here. People admire it when they see that you're working. They say, you're working 2 jobs, because I'm not. Everybody knows I'm not 30 years old. I don't mind doing it. I actually enjoy what I do with the insurance because I'm a Second Amendment proponent. And this is an insurance to not just for guns, for any legal weapon, but mainly they focus on the Second Amendment. But
this is Tony. I want your info, Jerry. I want to talk to you. This is Antoinette. This is Antoinette. I want to talk to you, okay?
You just PM me on another conversation.
Okay.
But anyway, Lauren, yeah, you're exactly right. Your clients should come from people that, like I have very satisfied. I was out yesterday showing those people that just closed. They're buying 6 more houses. We were out looking at a condo yesterday.
That's awesome.
You have to ask.
You have to
ask.
You have to tell. You have to tell people that you're in real estate. You have to let everybody know. I always slip it in somewhere in the conversation saying that I'm in real estate. And, not a lot of time, I don't do it as like a pushy salesperson. I just, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I shamelessly self-promote. And with that confidence comes more buyers and sellers. And Jerry, I love that you're using it to actually, using your second job as an income source for your real estate. Guys, I had a Tesla service appointment from 8 to noon, and I'm pretty sure they just rang my doorbell. So we're going to continue with success stories for 3 seconds while I open my garage and let them look at my car. Antoinette, you're next.
Oh, what am I supposed to say? What I'm doing in the market? I work another job too, so I'm trying to get out of it. I'm I work for American Home Shield, so I'm weaning away. I'm hoping they hire somebody, and I'm trying to stay to help train someone. So it's a little tricky because everybody I deal with is already an agent, but it helps when you're you have situations that you know they know you, and I know when I have an offer or something, it's going to help if I know people. Um, so I've been showing though. I have a friend looking, and he's really picky. So, but that's okay because I'm using it as an experience. It's learning what's going on in the market. And I used to sell new homes with Jesse Duran actually.
Way to go, Tony.
Yes, just so I'm just out there showing and learning the area and going cadence and everywhere, just everywhere. But it's good because you learn, you know what's going on out there. And so it's just tricky trying to juggle two jobs. So I understand what Jerry's going through, but I think by the beginning of the year, I won't be there anymore and I can totally focus on real estate. So, but I love this company. I had somebody that was going to sell, and Randy went with me to the listing, and then they decided they love where they're at and not going to sell because they're like we're in the perfect location. So it would have been tricky trying to find something to beat that where they could walk to Red Rock and Costco and all those stores. So anyway, it's just fun being out there learning. I love to learn, so it's a great thing. So I look forward to meeting all you guys in person.
Awesome. Thank you, Antoinette. All right. Next up is going to be Annie. Annie, what have you done this past week in real estate and what are your goals for next week?
Hi, I have been using Vulcan 7 and I'm calling expired listings and setting appointments. So next week, I hope I'll be on listing appointments.
Awesome. Awesome, Annie. All right. Well, if you
God bless you for doing that. Woo,
yes, we all need to be on the phones. Yes, I'm good, Sheehan. Thank you. So if you guys want targeted lists for calling, Annie, get with me. I have the data points on who is likely to sell, and those people are anybody who has a 5% rate or over and has more than 40% equity. So those are the highly likely sellers. And fun fact, over 60% of those people who have those two stats have already listed their houses on the market. So if you want to hone in on your calling list and really make it targeted so you get a lot more sellers and don't waste a lot of your time, we can do it through that way. So just shoot me a text or something. I'll send that list over to you, Annie, okay?
I will do that. Thank you. And your scripts really helps.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Anybody else who wants script, please let me know too. All right, next person, Fatima. Let's just roll through this, guys. 30 seconds. What have you done this past week, and what have you done plans for the next week, so we can get on to the 8 critical mistakes keeping agents from making over 100,000 a year. Fatima, you there? Going once?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm here. Sorry, good. I had a call.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. Oh, was there a question?
Yeah,
sorry.
so we're going around, we're doing 30 seconds on what you've done in the past week in real estate and what you've seen and what your goals are for next week.
Oh, okay. Well, I know I haven't really done much, but my goal is to start doing open houses.
Open houses, okay.
Yes, so I did.
Good goal.
Yeah, yes, I did attend the class with Sydney.
Okay, and just to let you know, that is the super mega open house. If you guys want to do open houses, the minimum you got to do is pick a good location that is one turn off the main road, no more, and put out signs. If you can get yourself to do those 2 things, you can do an open house. You don't need to be calling around. It's better if you do, you'll get more people, but just get yourself out there and give yourself the opportunity to meet 1 or 2 clients a weekend. Okay, 2 clients a week, 2 potential leads a weekend, or per open house, that's 4 leads a weekend, times you get 12 leads per month. So, and that's with doing the absolute minimum, you guys. And that's the absolute worst case scenario. So if you're not doing open houses, you're doing yourself a disservice. Fatima, I want you to set up an open house and send me the address. And I want to do it this weekend, okay? So that'll be your goal.
Okay.
Let's do it together, all right? I'll help you pick an address.
Okay.
I'll approve it.
Oh, yes. Okay, definitely.
All right. Thanks, Fatima. All right, Tina Shin, let's hear from you.
Oh, yes. Hi. Oh,
hi.
Let me turn on. Hi. I
right now I'm working with the 4 buyer, but still not very good luck yet. One, she want to buy in the high rise, but it happened. I show her 2 units already, but both are no views. And then, so that's why she said she have to wait. She have a good financial and everything qualified to buy, but no good. And then another one, her loan is not ready yet. Another one, she's supposed to come from California this week. Another one is from the another state like that. But both of them, the loan is not quite ready yet. That's why I have to wait for them.
Okay, so your follow-up plans will be talking to those people weekly, just checking in, letting them know what you're seeing in the market. Now tell everybody how you found these leads.
Oh, mostly from the friend.
Okay, so sphere of influence.
Yeah, right. I thought I'm a seasonal agent, but suddenly all the friends want me to buy for them. And yes, that's why I have to get to work again.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Tina, and keep rocking it. If you have any questions, obviously we're both, Sheehan and I are available for you. Alan, what's going on with you? You have a new listing coming up?
A new listing coming up, and I learned how to work with the transaction chat team a little bit better with Lauren's help. So that's going to get better for me. And just really, I'm like the definition of this meeting. So really just trying to do every day one little thing for real estate versus like waiting for a day and concentrating on a lot of hours on it for my schedule.
I love it. You guys just do, if you're not doing anything right now, you can move the needle by just doing one thing per day. Talk to one person about real estate. If you do nothing else, talk to one new person that you have that is a stranger and let them know you're in real estate. That's all you got to do if you're not doing anything right now and you can't get yourself to actually make some goals and start committing to them. Just one thing. All right. Thank you, Alan. Marlena, are you there? No, we can't hear you. I think that's what you said. Well, as long as you can hear us, maybe you can put in the chat later what you're doing in real estate. But I don't want you to crash, so just keep paying attention to the road. All right, Yvette, what's going on? What have you done in real estate this past week, and what are your goals for next week?
Well, I've been doing a lot of rentals, and goal is to just with the rentals, I've gotten some feedback because I've been more persistent and nurturing. Like I'm not just dropping them after 3 times of trying to contact them. And I've actually gotten feedback, and that is like, I need to be doing this with like real buyers and real money. But you say it's easy, but it's not. But consistency. So a lot of rentals, good feedback. Next week, and what I'm doing forward is just concentrating on buttoning up an investor list, because these investors, flippers, want to buy bottom dollar, and I don't know if they're going behind my back, and just making calls to bigger clients.
So they are. They're going and they're calling every single realtor, and they're asking them what they have that's off market.
Right.
Every single one. So
right.
It's difficult to make it with those flippers and those investors. You're better off finding people who want something long-term and running rental comps from them, or focusing more on getting those renters and turning them into buyers, maybe using a program like Home Partners of America. You can learn how to sell the lease to own option.
Yes, and I have been using that, Lauren. I've been like, you know what? I'm just like I'm just like putting options there, and I'm being more persistent, and like a bugaboo, and it's working out in a sense. So if I can close 3-4 rentals a week, I can do this with buyers. It's just a lot more work and persistence and energy because people are crazy. This is a crazy job. This is like, whoa, dude.
All right, well, get those renters in your pipeline and make sure to be following up with them for the next year. I would start contacting them maybe like 4 months before their lease expires. Make sure to really hit them hard every week. Hey, ready to buy? Hey, ready to buy? Here's where rates are, stuff like that. Just call and give them a market update. That's a good way to turn your renters into buyers. All right. Anyways, thank you, Yvette. Let's move on. Oh, you guys are moving around. Let's see. Grace. Grace, what's going on? What have you done this past week in real estate? What are your goals for next week? Going, there we go.
I have you in the background because I'm with my kids, but can I pass?
That's okay.
I could jump on, Grace, for you. Now that my daughter, we're gonna go take her driving test right now. But as far as me this week, I am on the KB Core thing this week. So I am looking to post certain listings. Of course, some listings that I'm asking for permission, but I kind of service both. So I need to start focusing on both Las Vegas and also like the, Southern California area. So I'm going to get with our marketing team. I'm back and forth with Randy to see if this is possible. But what I want to do is I want to start doing, posting listings. So if anyone is like following me on my personal page, which I kind of switched over because I've been doing things on my business page and it doesn't make. So now I'm posting on my personal page, and anyone that's there, I just posted a listing. But the goal is with KB Core, anytime someone selects that listing, it automatically comes to me. And so I'm going to see if there's a way that our assistants can post 6 listings a day.
That would be
here,
awesome.
3
so
here,
then
3 in California.
So then what your goal should be is to add people to your network. I want you to use something called look up the Gary V $1.80 strategy. So what he does is he goes to
that one.
You know what it is? All right.
I do, yes.
I want you to spend 20 minutes a day adding people to your network using that strategy, okay?
Okay, will do. It's something new, so I'm going to start and see what happens, and I'll let you guys know the feedback.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Marlena.
You're welcome.
All right, next person up is Tanya. There you go.
Hey, I just got here like 3 minutes ago. I was just about to ask Tina Shin what we were doing.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're going over what you did this past week in real estate and what your goals for next week are.
I haven't done anything in real estate in this past week. My goal is to just get started again.
All right, what are your plans and how are you going to do it? Are we going to get an open house going this weekend?
No, I need to set something up probably. I don't have a plan yet.
All right, well, why don't your goal homework for today is to figure out what you're going to do this next week in real estate. And you can collaborate with me or Sheehan or someone to make that plan with you, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
All right. You're welcome, Tanya. All right, Trevor, see you got a little flash dance going on in your screen over there. What's going on? What did you do this past week in real estate? There you go.
So I actually just helped a couple partners with non-traditional financing. So obviously most of you know me. I've been a real estate agent for 25 years, but not practicing. I only practiced for 2 years. So anyway, I'm your mortgage advisor, Pauline, right, Steve? But anyway, yeah, just got a couple people qualified on non-traditional financing using actually asset dissipation loans. So a little bit different. Okay. I'm sitting in just because I'm realizing that our team is there. A lot of us are fairly green, and just wanted to give a message. I had a financing class at LVR yesterday for 20 agents, and it was post right at 30 hours. And I just have to tell you that most of my referral partners are older, more experienced, like myself. But they are not the ones that are writing business right now. It's the younger agents, the agents who are embracing technology, who are being front and center and present in a market like this. People who are filming a lot of video, who are on social media. So thank you for tuning in. I'll tell you what, even if you've been experienced, been doing this forever like me, I was still on my Thursday morning coaching call for an hour. And it just takes one idea that you're willing to implement and come out of your shell with and execute on. It can make all the difference, even if it's just a mindset shift for you.
Exactly. That's why I want everybody to be sharing right now about what they're doing and what they're moving forward, that we get everybody else motivated and see what we're doing.
Yeah, so I would say, you know what, as a group, just get out there. We've heard it before. Shihan, Lauren, don't be a secret agent. I talk to everybody about what I do and I'm passionate about it, right? I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just I enjoy what I do and I tell everybody what I do. So it's just you never know who you're going to talk to. You know, I look at my pipeline now and I can remember, yeah, I had some call reluctance talking to that Berkshire agent 12 years ago and pulling up his stats on MMI and going, hey, you closed 15 buyer side transactions last year. Can we sit down and I can show you a way that we can get you to 24 this year? And I look back at that and, you know, that's 5 loans we've closed. Those are 5 different families that we've helped this year. I can bring it back to one phone call. And what's that led to, right? A lot of first-time homeowners that tell everybody about it. Hey, you owe it to yourself. Call Trevor, call Lauren. They're amazing, and they tell their friends, their family, their coworkers about us. So you just never know. Don't be afraid to try something else and just be out there. The activity will lead to results.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Trevor. That's awesome advice. All right, next person. What's that?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Next person is Aisha. You guys are jumping around, so if I skip anybody, feel free to butt in. Do you have a microphone? No? All right, next to you is Casey. Casey, what have you done this past week in real estate, and what's your goals for next week?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how's it going? No, I would say that I've just been studying with some other kind of work. I haven't really been putting that time into real estate, but I feel kind of stuck where I don't know that paralysis going in different directions.
Paralysis by analysis, something that I had a ton of in the beginning of my career. And the way that I worked through it is I just created a ton of real estate content on my Instagram. I was constantly, every single day, making a buyer's guide, making a seller's guide. I was just tinkering on the computer, figuring out what products I can offer to people. I was doing market research and just talking about it on my Instagram. And that really got me comfortable talking about real estate in any type of situation. So if you do nothing else, Casey, why don't you just start doing market research and posting it on all of your social media things, so that by educating your audience, you will then attract clients. So the more you educate people, the more people will come to you for advice. And that could be your little start to be very slow and get past that paralysis by analysis, where you're just answering questions about what's going on in the market to your sphere of influence through social media. Does that sound good?
Yeah, thanks, Lauren.
All right, so I want to see 1 to 8 posts a day on your stories on Instagram for the next week. That could be your goal. All right, next person up is Debbie. Debbie, what have you done this past week, and what are your goals for next?
I've been focusing on for a few weeks now with implementing
more time blocking with making my phone calls to clients, you know, whether it's the Sphere or past, present, the lead system. And I usually try to implement that from 9 a.m. till about 11:30 or to when I get my calls done. And I'll continue that this next week. And I also have a buyer coming in to look at some probably new construction homes is where they're leaning towards.
Woohoo! I love to hear that you're time blocking. Everybody should be time blocking. If they don't know, if they're lost, they wake up and they don't know what they're doing every day in real estate. Time blocking is a great way to get around that and get yourself in the mindset of actually having a career that you're committed to. So that's awesome, Debbie. Great job.
Oh, also, Lauren, I haven't done open houses in a while. I was doing them for a bit, but I want to get back into doing that again as well.
All right,
So.
let's see you set up an open house for this weekend. I did get your message. I'll get back to you on that shortly. I have to ask the owner. He's got $750,000 worth of art in his house, so he doesn't particularly want other people doing open houses, but I will get with him, try to get that handled because I've been doing personally open houses every weekend.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mark, King of Pahrump, what you got going on?
I love it. King of Pahrump. So, I just did a final walkthrough for a deal that you closed today in Pahrump, for sure, yesterday.
Shocker.
And then just because the gentleman I was with happens to be a general contractor, he does some AC. We had a chance to actually sit down and have dinner and talk about some of the things that he's done. And so now he's kind of, you know, going to be an asset for me for other potential projects or questions. Hey, Mark, who do you know that does this in Pahrump? Because I really don't. I might be the king of Pahrump, but I don't have as many contacts and influence there as I do, you know, here in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So now having that conversation, and it starts to open up, you know, the doors for, you know, for future projects, and then also to kind of, you know, feed my clients. So you guys, if you have a client that has their business, you know, look for ways to refer them business, because I mean, it's not, you know, it's just good business. You know, it's not saying they owe you because you refer them over to someone, but it is a good way to develop a good, almost like your own little tip or BNI kind of thing going on with your professionals that you market with.
Exactly. And for anybody who doesn't know what BNI is, it's business and industry. Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's this group of people that meet once a month, I believe, and they, you know, they actually pay to some BNI thing, but you can create your own networking group on your own where you meet periodically. They typically only allow one person per industry in each chapter. So they'll have like an insurance agent, they'll have a lawyer, they'll have a realtor. So if you want to create some type of networking event like that yourself, it really is a great way to get your name out there and have that close-knit group of people that you promote yourself to, just like creating a larger SOI or whatnot. So awesome. Well, thank you, Mark. And if anybody has anything in Pahrump that they do not want to make the drive for, Mark is your guy. He is the king of
Happy to do it.
Sure. Do you live in Blue Diamond or something? It must be easy for you to get out there.
Yeah, Mountain's Edge.
Okay, easy then. Easier.
That's it.
All right. For the remainder of you guys, I do want to get onto this class, 8 critical mistakes agents make that make them not make 100, or that they're not making $100,000 a year. Does anybody else want to put in what they're doing this week before I move on? You know, I'm probably missed a bunch of you, but I can't even keep track. You're jumping around like I have to play memory. Going once, going twice. All right, if we have time after class, you guys can interject then. Let's see, let me pull up my notes for this next section. All right, so 8 critical mistakes that keep agents from earning over $100,000 a year. Guys, if you want to be a great real estate salesperson, and I'm talking about the salesperson who reaches their absolute highest potential, there are 8 rules to follow in order to reach that level of sales mastery, per se. And so I'm going to go through all 8 in this class. If you have any questions, please feel free to just chime in, unmute yourself, stop me where I'm at. So number 1 is going to be to prospect every single day. And that means even on the days that you don't feel like it. Because the reality is, we all know, and think, I think that we would agree on, is that there are going to be way more days that you don't feel like prospecting, that there are going to be days that you feel like it. So you can see motivation will come and go, and we have to be disciplined enough to prospect every single day. That is our job. If you narrow down an agent's job to one thing, you must be prospecting every single day, whether that's through self-promotion on your Instagram, whether that's through meeting people in line at Starbucks or whatever, open houses. Those are all forms of prospecting, okay? So that's our job. We need to look at it. If a day goes by and you're not prospecting, that's a day that you haven't worked at all, okay? Let me just change the view here, speaker, there we go. That will fix the recording. All right, so if we look at the vital few essential things that drive your business, this is the highest priority, okay? I'm trying to help you win at the highest level, and prospecting is the thing that has to happen every single day, no matter what, okay? No matter what. You're having new conversations with people, you're meeting new prospects, you're putting them in the top of your sales funnel, and you're reaching out to them on a periodic basis, whether they're an A lead, a B lead, or a C lead. So your A leads will be ones that are buying in 0 to 3 months. Your B leads, and those people you're going to contact every single week. You're going to contact them every single week. If they're from California, you're going to call them and be like, hey, I know you're looking to buy in about 90 days, you're pre-approved. What are your plans to come visit Vegas? Are you coming out here soon? Your B leads are going to be people buying in 3 to 6 months. Those people you're going to call every other week. Give them an update on what's going on in the market. Tell them about the crazy weather patterns here, whatever. Just make conversation, make friends with them. But you want to be at top of mind. So then your C leads are people buying in 6 to 12 months. Those people you don't want to bug too much, but you do want to stay top of mind. So you want to be reaching out to them every month, once a month. Okay, and then your sphere, obviously, too. You're reaching out to them once a month. Rule number 2, telling is not selling. So many agents get into this business of real estate sales and they start to tell prospects and clients to do everything. You tell them to sell, you tell them to buy, you tell them to invest, you tell them to 1031 exchange, whatever. But let me ask you this. Do you guys like being told what to do? I don't think so. I don't either. So much so that there are some principles around the communication that we can use that we know to be true, which is that we will never believe what you, a stranger, are telling them to do, okay? They'll have their guard up. So let me ask you another, and the reason they have their guard up is because when you say the word salesperson, what emotion does that make you feel? Do you feel like car salesperson? Do you feel like telemarketer? Do you feel like they don't have your best interest at mind? Okay, so we're salespeople, so we can't just be telling people because usually the stigma around salespeople is that we don't have the client's best interests of mind. So prospects feel like with salespeople, they got their guard up. So your job is to get around that and have them actually believe what's coming out of your mouth and make them know you have their best interests at mind. So when you try to tell somebody something, the law of psychological reactance kicks in. And some laws of a example of this would be like when you walk into a store and the salesperson goes, oh, can I help you find anything? And you automatically say no. But then later you're looking for what you went there for and you have to ask them where it is. So that's an example of psychological reactance. And it says, well, if you're trying to tell me to do this, I'm more motivated to actually do the opposite, because most salespeople don't have the prospect's best interest at mind, but rather they have their own best interest at mind. So that can also be called commission breath. So the second principle is that people often believe what other people tell them. So other people being somebody that they trust. So if they have a family member or a friend or somebody who's used you as an agent, and they say, hey, I've worked with this agent before and they do great work, that coming from a family member goes a really long way. And it's much more believable to the prospect saying, hey, you know, they do great work, this agent is amazing, versus you telling the client, I'm amazing, I do great work. So really work on those referrals and get those your SOI to actually start referring you. And the way to do that is to just self-promote to the people that you know and the people that like, know, and trust you already. Okay, call people, ask people for business. I, you know, had a bunch of new listings, and let me tell you, I was hitting up everyone I know and promoting my first YouTube video I made of one of my listings, and just saying, like, subscribe, share, whatever, like shamelessly, just saying, you know, and if I noticed somebody watched it and they didn't subscribe to my channel, I hit them back up. I went from 0 subscribers to like 50 in a week or something, I don't know. So I shamelessly self-promoted and, you know, put a little personal twist on it. However I do it, people who like, know, and trust me have shared it. Okay. And so shamelessly self-promote and use that psychological reactance principle to get people to refer you. And number 3 is the next principle is people always believe what they tell themselves. So when we look at the second rules of telling is not selling, then what we have to do is say, okay, so what is the opposite of telling? And we quickly find out we have to ask questions specifically. What I teach agents is we have to ask reverse selling style questions. So they're Socratic in nature and they're designed to like elicit self-persuasion. So we ask questions in a way to get the prospect to sell themselves on the ideas and actions, on the things that they would like to do, the things that they would not like to do. So, and we stay out of it. So these questions will make your client think hard and decide to purchase or sell the property on their own without you having to convince anyone to do so. So asking the right questions, digging in the right way will actually make the client realize that what they actually wanted to do, using their motivation against them, or using their motivation to actually elicit the response that you want to see. And you won't have to be convincing your prospects to buy or sell anything. Okay, so that comes to rule number 3. We need to support the prospect's autonomy. So what does this mean? Well, here's what we know. We know that we shouldn't break the law of psychological reactance, where we try to force ourselves into a situation by using hard sales tactics and hard closing strategies, because that elicits the knee-jerk reaction of, no, I don't need your help, like when we go into a store. And that elicits the psychological reactance negatively. The more we try to pressure somebody into doing something, the more motivated they are to do the opposite. So we don't want to be telling them, we want to be selling them, or we don't want to tell them in order to sell them. So that's like the old school sales pressure tactics that like a car salesperson or something would use. Giving the prospect the perception of control by supporting their autonomy to make their own decisions. Now, if you think about what I'm saying, most of the time, most people aren't used to be communicated in this way, whether it be in a relationship with your friends, with your spouse, like a team member or something, certainly not in a selling environment. So this will break the pattern. It's a pattern interrupt. It will break their pattern and give them the perceived control over the situation. People aren't used to that. So when you give them options and you say option A versus option B, which one works better for you, you give them the perceived control. So in a selling environment, when we use that language that supports the autonomy, here's what happens. more often than not, they will comply with the very thing that we want them to do without having to pressure them. So you could say, Mr. Prospect, listen, I'm not sure if this would make sense to you or not, but I'd be happy to meet with you one day and I'll share with you what I'm doing with my clients to get their property sold at a price that works for them or more, and then decide, and then you can decide if maybe working with me makes sense or not, because let's face it, you're not going to sell unless it made sense, right? So when you say that, right, or am I right, they agree with you and they're going to choose the option that makes most sense to them, which is to sell, and they're going to have the option and they're going to have the perceived control. And when you communicate in that way, it supports the prospect's autonomy, where they feel in control, where they don't feel like they're being sold. And that's our goal. We don't want to have commission breath when we're talking to these prospects. And they will end up taking you up on your offers and do exactly what you wanted them to do in the first place without having to pressure them. And that brings us into rule number 4, which is selling the cost of inaction over selling the cost of action. And I think a lot of agents get this wrong, and they're constantly trying to position their argument for selling someone and selling their home based on, hey, here's where the market's at, look at all the upside you can get. And if you read that book that I always suggest, it's called Exactly What to Say and When to Say It for Agents. This book is awesome. Here, I'll show you guys. It's called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. I'm getting a new computer next week, so my pixels will be bigger, but this book is awesome. You definitely need to read it. I've gone through and I've highlighted a bunch of things that make sense. This will really teach you how to hone in on your words and your conversations and what sentences to use in order to elicit these responses. So people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure in any situation. So selling the cost of inaction. And just like I tell you guys how many leads you'll miss out on by not doing open houses, I'm selling you guys on doing open houses by telling you how much you're losing by not. So do the same with your clients. But we always want to pattern interrupt and whenever we can and sell in a different way. And this is a different way than most agents will sell. And what I've found to be more powerful is selling the cost of doing nothing. Okay, so does everyone understand that? Does anyone have any questions about that? People are much more motivated by the fear of loss than they are at the opportunity of gain. They will go way out of their way to avoid pain, avoid loss because the market's dropping. You know, you can tell them, hey, look at where the market's going now. Can you imagine where we'll be in a year? What would you feel? Put them in that situation. Just like when I tell people, my agents, to get their clients dreaming when you're walking through a house. When you get your clients dreaming and you're showing a house and you say, okay, where are you going to put your furniture? You're going to put it over here. Do you have a TV for this wall? You're getting them picturing and in that actual psychological state where they're living in their house and they're putting their kids on the couch in front of the TV, or they're putting their kids outside on the trampoline. You're getting them dreaming about it. So in this situation where you're selling the cost of inaction, you're actually getting them to have that nightmare about it, that nightmare of losing out, that nightmare of losing money and not getting the house that they want if the market goes down more. So if we can communicate with the seller differently, we can explain to them, hey, if we look ahead in the marketplace and if the home values are at all-time highs and we believe that home values over time will trend downward, are you really okay leaving $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 on the table? If so, if you're good with that, that's totally fine. There's a lot of sellers who aren't willing to do that though. So I just want to make you aware of the situation, right? So we give them the perceived control and we're selling the nightmare. We're selling the cost of inaction. We sell the gap between where they are now and the property where property values may go down in the future, and point out that it will cost you to wait and not sell today. That is the cost of inaction. You know, versus the counter argument that would be like, hey, Mr. Prospect, sell now. Look at how much you can gain. Okay, in this principle, we sell the inverse of that. The Mr. Prospect, look at how much is at stake and how much you'll lose if you do nothing. The choice, of course, is up to you, right? Does anyone have any questions about that one? All right, so then rule number 5 is we invite prospects to say no, okay? This is a very difficult one for new salespeople. And I always ask this question and get and agents will answer right conceptually, but emotionally, newer agents they just always get it wrong. If a prospect was never ever going to do business with you, when would you want to know that? Most agents will say, I want to know right now if a prospect is never ever going to do business with me. But you guys don't ask the right questions in order to get to that yes or no. I know you're telling me that you would want to know now, but the behaviors and questions you ask aren't in line with actually getting that no. We want to get the truth. And the truth is only about 1 to 3% of the marketplace is ready to transact or do business today. Okay, and this is why we need to follow up and follow up. The truth is that the majority of those people aren't going to do business with you. They're going to do business with somebody else, especially if you don't follow up in the proper way and ask the right questions that will elicit the response that you want to hear. So what happens is when you invite the prospects to tell you the truth, you'll get the truth. And then 2 things happen from that. When you invite prospects to tell you the truth, you say, hey, listen, if it doesn't make sense to you and you're not open to at least meeting, that's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. Just let me know. And you invite them to tell you no. And 2 things will occur. You'll stop having to chase clients who will never do business with you. Okay, you'll stop going to what I call voicemail jail, where they just ignore your calls forever. You can get out of that hopium cycle, like, oh, this person talked to me about real estate once and they haven't answered my phone calls for over a year, and now my texts are green and I think I'm blocked. Okay, I've been there, done that. You know, I just take those people out of my sales funnel now when I feel that. You don't want to be chasing people too much and having them avoid your text literally all the time. Just move on. You should be prospecting every day. You should be putting new people in your sales funnel every single day. All right, so we just move on from those. We want to get to that no if it's always going to be a no. And the second thing that happens from this is when you start inviting prospects to tell you no, you start generating amazing opportunities, because those prospects that push back on your invitation to say no, what is the objection to no? When you ask a question and the answer is supposed to be no, what's the objection to that? The objection to that is yes. Okay, and when you formulate your questions right, you'll get the yes more often than not. They'll get the yes, let's meet. And those prospects, they present the greatest opportunities. You will not find in this process that you can sort out with certainty that a lead is and what a lead is not, okay? So you will really find out what a lead that is going to work with you is and what a lead that is not going to work with you is. So how many of you guys have ever asked a client or been scared to ask a client to buy or sell? This is particularly happens with my agents that do rentals, and they're too scared to ask them if they are ready to buy or if they've had any thoughts of buying, because they're scared they're going to lose that rental purchase. Okay, but if you don't ask, you're never going to find out. Okay, maybe you think that they're going to think you're pressury or have commission breath, but if you don't ask them, then you're never going to find out, and you won't know how to follow up. And only about 100% of the shots you don't take, you miss, right? So if you don't ask, you will lose the sale. So position your questions right and make sure to elicit that or invite the prospects to say no. Rule number 6, if there's no pain, there's no sale to be had. Okay. I've said it a lot before and I'll say it again, but your job as a real estate agent is not to convince people to sell their home, right? We can't convince somebody who has no plans of selling, who has no motivation. Motivation usually is pain. What is your pain point? Okay, so do you need a bigger house? Did you just have twins? Did all of your kids just move out of your house and your house is now too big to keep up? Okay, those are pain points. If there's no pain, there's no sale. And you can't convince people who have no pain point to actually sell their home. Our job as agents is to find people who have already decided to sell their house. And so at some point in time, oh, I'm going to sell my house in a year. Oh, I'm going to sell my house, into 2024. Our job is to find those people and earn their business. All right. So many times I get questions like, well, what if they say they don't want to sell? What's the objection handler for that? There really isn't one. Like, you can't convince somebody to sell if they've never thought of selling. Okay. So the response to that is call the next person on the list. If there's no pain, it's virtually impossible to make the sale. Nothing you're going to say is going to result in you setting that appointment or taking the listing if there's no pain from the prospect's perspective. Okay. Oftentimes we can't help everyone, certainly can't help someone solve a pain point if they don't have one. Okay, so what would pain points be? It would be a new baby. What are the 9 Ds? There's 9 Ds of real estate. Let's see, let's look them up. 9 Ds of real estate.
Death, divorce.
There we go.
Dudes, I don't know.
Here we go. Divorce, downsizing, disasters, debt, default, death, and diplomas. So those are the D's of real estate. Those are the major points on why people actually move. So look for those pain points and help people solve them. Those are the pain points we're trying to help people solve through the service that we offer. Okay, so if we don't find one of those pain points, then there's usually not a sale to be had there. All right, and those are motivation to move. All right, number 7, leave your ego at home. I think a lot of agents get this twisted. They come off as they need to be right, and they result in some people will say this sounds like you're fighting with your client, and it's just kind of more of a bickering. And when your clients say no, the market's going down, and then we fight the clients and telling them, no, the market's going up. And if you don't have data points to support your argument behind you, you kind of just end up bickering with the client, and then you turn them off to actually being open to working with you and having a larger conversation about it. And it's kind of like that moment, I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself here, but if you guys have ever seen Matilda, where he goes, I'm old, you're young, I'm smart, you're dumb. We don't want to come off like that to clients. And I see a lot of people communicating with prospects, and they're just way too positive about the market, and they don't come from the prospect's point of view and actually letting them know, what their situation looks like. And I've had a lot of clients where they're renting right now, and I'm looking at the market, and maybe they get pre-approved at 300,000 because the interest rates are really high right now. It just doesn't make sense for them to do anything but rent, because they're going to have a mortgage that's over $1,000 over of what they're renting for, and it really would just make more sense for them to wait. They don't have any money saved up for closing costs. And I go, hey, look, I'm going to tell you something that not pretty much every other agent is not going to tell you. And I really use these words, and I say, look, I don't think any other agent is going to tell you this, but I really don't think that it's a good idea for you to, go ahead and buy right now because of X, Y, and Z in your situation. I think that next year we're going to reevaluate your situation and look back and see if it makes sense for you then. But why don't we make a plan? We'll get you with my lender who does free credit repair. We'll get you that lower interest rate. We'll see where interest rates are in a year. And I can tell you how many clients come back to me and say, I just feel like you have my best interest at mind, and I'm going to come back to you. And they always do. I just had the second lead I ever had in my career. She came into my KB Core as Tara. And my text went green to her like a year and a half ago. We were looking at homes right before the pandemic, and she came back to me and she's like, hey, this is Tara. It's from a new phone number. And I was like, oh my God, this is Tara. And I said, oh my God, I looked at my KB Core real quick, looked at my notes. I remember she has 3 beautiful daughters. I talked to her about that right away, and she was like, oh my God, I knew you were you're the best agent ever. You remember everything about me. I really just had really good notes in my KV course. So make sure to be doing that with your clients, and give them that feel good feeling about you, okay? And don't fight with them. Let them know now is not the time, but I am the agent for you no matter what, because I have your best interests at mind, right? We have to be nurturing prospects. They don't know what they don't know. So we can show them in a nurturing way, show them the numbers and stats, educate them, be a resource for them, okay? And this will get your clients coming back to you and prospects coming back to you, even if you fall off from following up with them, all right? Show your clients instead of telling them. Telling is not selling. You got to show them and nurture them. Leave your ego at the door. Just keep on putting new people in your pipeline, and come from a point of compassion and that you actually want to help them, okay? So that is definitely a really, really good at creating those relationships with your new prospects. And the last rule, number 8, is going to be disqualify hard so that the close is easy. I think this is another one that the agents really want to mess up. And what does disqualify hard mean? Well, we talked about the power of inviting people to tell you no. And when you're disqualifying prospects, all we are doing is creating an environment and where we can communicate the truth. So qualifying prospects is where we're constantly looking for prospects to say yes. And when you do this, oftentimes prospects do what? They tell you no or give you objections. Qualifying questions is like, hey, if you like what I have to say, will you list the house with me? On the inverse, a disqualifying question would be, hey, if after our meeting things go well, would you be opposed to getting started right away? Or would you be totally against the idea of getting the house on the market right away? Do you see where I inverse that question so that their objection is actually something that agrees with me? Or better yet, you can say something like, hey, Mr. Prospect, based on our meeting and things making sense, you're not looking to get started right away, are you? So those are all disqualifying questions. This is how we totally remove objecting from the equation, because when you communicate from the point of disqualifying and the prospect pushes back, their objection actually becomes their motivation. So think about the objection again to that question. Mr. Prospect, let me ask you this. If after our meeting, everything that we talked about makes sense for you and we decide that working together has value for both of us, you're not looking to get the house on the market right away, are you? Then they say something like, yeah, well, quite the contrary. That's exactly what we're looking to do. And the objection becomes their actual motivation and is in your best interest and their best interest. You get the business and they want to get the house on the market right away. So disqualifying up front, it makes the closing process very simple. Like you just heard, they actually end up closing themselves. And when we're at the listing presentation, we can simply say something like, Mr. Prospect, previously we had a conversation that if we both thought things went well, you had mentioned that you were looking to get the house and you were looking to get started right away. Are there any other questions that you have, or does it make sense to go ahead and get started like you wanted? There you go. So see how it makes the close very easy? So that is just some psychological tricks that help you really close some clients. So for all you agents that aren't where you want to be, the solution is treating this job like a career. You've got to make your goals work towards your goals every single day. If you're not writing down your goals, putting them on a sticky note on your mirror, or you can do like me and take an expo marker and actually write on your mirror. I remember in the very beginning of my career, I put the number 300,000 on my mirror, and you eventually hit your goals because you see it every single day. It's drilled into your head. That is what I'm going to hit. I'm going to make that money in real estate. Okay. And then you make tiny goals. So you break down your yearly goal into monthly goals, and you work towards these every single day. Whether showing up as 100%, I wish I had the diagram handy. So showing up and giving your all every day doesn't mean it It's not going to be a straight line, 100% of what you are every day. Maybe 80% is the max I can give one day. Then give it. Okay, so it's not a straight line to success. It's going to look like this. It's not going to be a straight up line and doing better and better all the time. This year has been tough. This year has been tough for me. Okay, this year has been tough for everybody. Last year was a little tough in Q4 also. Okay, and that all changed in Q1 because I kept on working through the tough times, adding people to my sales funnel and following up. And then everybody was ready to go right when those rates dropped. And I had already created all of those connections with people, met people through open houses and my advertising and everything. And they were ready to go. So just keep on working. It doesn't mean you're going to make money every day, but you will make that money in the future. For the work you do today is determining what money you make 90 days from now. So if I'm not doing any business today, I can be like, well, I took a 2-month break, 3 months ago. So obviously my business is going to be slow right now. Okay, use the pillars of lead generation that you've written down to work towards your yearly goals, break them down into monthly goals and even into weekly and daily goals. If you guys are making calls, this is super easy. You can get a tracking sheet. You can ask myself to send you one. Do the work necessary. All right, so the biggest question is, will you do the work necessary to achieve those goals? And that is how you make $100,000 a year. And those things are keeping you guys from making your goals and making that money every single day if you're not working towards them. And a bonus, let's do a bonus number 9. How about open houses? You guys, open houses are so good right now. They're so good. The weather is amazing to do open houses, even though it's dark out today. It's cool. People are going to be looking. People look on the MLS and go to those open houses. I can tell you a lot of the people who've been coming to my open houses lately, they find them on Zillow instead of actually finding them from the signs. So make sure whatever agent you contact to do open houses at their listings, make sure that you have them put it on the MLS and verify that it's up there with them for everyone to see. So I'm just going to open the floor again for anybody that has any questions about the things that we went over. Does anybody have anything to put in? Have any questions about the sales tactics or tricks I talked about today?
Hey, Lauren, I would just add, yeah, 2% of the people we talk to may be ready to buy or sell a home right now. But that doesn't mean it was a wasted conversation. I think it's human nature to want to help people. When you do a great job and you're there for them constantly, you're checking in with them constantly, they really want to help. And so it's a matter of asking for that referral. Who do you know of who might benefit from talking with me? Something like that. And I think we'll end up with more referrals that way.
Right, Trevor, and I love the fact that you said, who do you know? Because it gets people thinking. So that's another play on words and psychological sales trick, little NLP there, where you ask, who do you know? Instead of, do you know anybody? Now, Trevor, I have upgraded my sentence from who do you know from, have you heard any rumors of any of your neighbors looking to buy or sell? That's another one I like to use. Have you heard any rumors of any of your friends looking to buy or sell?
I love it. And it's being creative, right? Having fun with it.
Mm-hmm. And it's just a play on words. So another play on words, when I get people to fill out a mortgage application, I actually call it a mortgage questionnaire instead of a mortgage application. Another play on words, little tricks. It's just softer to somebody's mind who has been thinking, oh, I got to put in an application that sounds so official. They're going to pull my credit. You just call it a mortgage questionnaire.
Lauren, I have a question. You had mentioned a book in the beginning of this meeting by Dobbs, is it? Is that the correct? I can't see that.
It's by Jones, Smith, and what's the last word?
I thought there was another book that you mentioned at the beginning.
I mean, I have a whole bookshelf of real estate books. Let me put this one in the chat though. Why is my phone dead? That's weird.
I believe it's the Gary V.
Oh, the Gary V $1.80 strategy?
Yes,
Yes, what's
That's
it?
not a book, so I'll put that. I'm really nervous why my phone just was not turning on. No wonder it's been so quiet. Usually going off no matter what. All right, well, all my Bitcoin's on here, so that's not fun. Yeah, so it's the $1.80 strategy by Gary V. You can actually just Google it. And it's a strategy using your social media to go and find new clients and make new connections and actually virtually network is what they call it. My goodness, my phone won't turn on at all. All right, does anybody have any other questions?
No, that was awesome feedback, Lauren. I guess I would just say, like, now being in my 3rd year, learning some of these tricks, learning not to be so desperate or such a fish out of water, which you are in the beginning, right? And you learn how to, you want to come from a place of helping, not just the sale or the pressure of this industry, and persistence. And by nature, we're all procrastinators. So I've been finding that my persistence has led me to people being genuinely thankful and to closing these deals. Now it's time to focus to bigger net deals because, yeah, we're providing a service, bottom line, like a doctor or a policeman. Everyone's got to buy, sell, or live somewhere. So, but it's not easy in the sense of like we have so many hats to wear and time management, but you get better in time. Because congratulations to you with all your listings. That's awesome. Just listening to you speak and how you have like KV Core. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's tough. And like, yeah, listening to the program is great, but there's nothing like, sitting in class or having someone like, help, like just IRL. But awesome. Thank you, my dear. And fix your phone because I know how that feels like. I was crying the other
Just
day.
turned on.
And
I plugged it into a different,
crying.
it just turned on. I don't know what happened. I definitely had a mini heart attack. I'm sure you guys all just saw that on screen. Yeah, so if any of you guys have any questions about how to position conversations, if you're having trouble with a client with objections, screenshot me that text message and send it over to me. I'll help you work through some conversation points and help you actually turn around that client and actually make the sale. And also, if you guys have listing appointments that you need me to go on, plan with me. I need at least 48 hours notice. Sheehan is also available for that while Randy's out of town. I can't guarantee that I can always get 7% like Randy does, but I'm pretty good. So we'll go through it together. Any tips and tricks that you guys want, I am here to help you along with Sheehan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other success stories of people who didn't get the chance prior to going over the list of points today? Want to jump in? All right, I will be making this recording available on my YouTube channel, so I'll let you guys know when that is up there. And everyone who I gave homework, please communicate with me and let me know how you're doing on it if you need help. And make sure to rock it this week. Get your open houses ready. Bye,
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.